So is Robinhood safe for investors in 2020? No, we're done. No, I'm kidding. Imagine if every YouTube video was actually that short. That's it. No ads, no cuts, no butts, no coconuts, and no Andrei. Because I have to feed myself and pay my bills, so we're gonna have to make this video just a little bit longer because the answer really is a little more nuanced than that. But wow, what a week it has been in the stock market. It's been up and down and up. Oil prices have dropped. And as usual, people are panicking yet again. But now there's a class action lawsuit against Robinhood on Twitter because where else would it come from? And this is a big deal because a lot of people are leaving Robinhood to go to more boomery brokerages. And yes, that's now a word. And in response to all that, Robinhood was like, because gold gives you that Midas touch and everything you touch turns to gold, just like this. That is, of course, until it doesn't, because you got sued. How'd that work? Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh, and Robinhood has been popping in the news lately for all the wrong reasons, and I wanted to give you an update about this whole Robinhood debacle that's been going on. Debacle. That's a weird word when you say it out loud. I should really stick to words that fit my tax bracket. But because of the trouble that Robinhood is facing, they've been offering their premium subscription service, Robinhood Gold, for free for 90 days. And for everyone who didn't have it at the time of the debacle, it's for free for 30 days. And I've had some people ask me, Andrei, is it worth our time and our money? What is it? How do we use it? And more importantly, is Robinhood safe anymore? Because things are getting worse and worse every single day for my favorite brokerage that I've used since 2014. Because now they're involved in a class action lawsuit. But to catch you up to speed, Robinhood went dark for nearly 2 straight trading days in a row. And this was worsened by the perfect storm when that day, Monday, March 2nd, there was so much trading activity that the app completely crashed and their servers were unable to communicate with each other. But that day, Monday, March 2nd, was the biggest economic day of recovery since the last crash in 08, when the market gained 4.6%, which is huge. And that means a lot of people lost money, not only because they were not able to buy stocks and ride the wave up, but because they were not able to sell the stocks when they bet that the market would go down, and that was the options traders. So if you ever go to Reddit/Wall Street Bets, your YOLO tendies on margin, like straight up Chad posts, will be sorely missed. And if that comment just made 0 sense to you, it's okay, it made no sense to me either, but I think they will recognize those words. It's this new language I'm trying to learn, except unlike learning a new language with Rosetta Stone or Duolingo, where it's actually kind of fun, you get to learn Wall Street Bet language while being completely degraded and made fun of. It's super fun if you're into that sort of thing. Don't ever go there. But ultimately, this has led a company in Tampa, Florida to file a class action lawsuit against Robinhood. And if things could not get worse, they're also being looked at by the SEC, which is one of the scariest things a company can go through. It's like the equivalent of the IRS calling you and demanding those 3 years of tax returns that you didn't pay, and then your butthole puckers up because you realize the IRS is no joke. Yeah, Al Capone went to prison not for being in the mob, but for tax evasion. In fact, I had the IRS send me a scary letter asking for money, and it was not fun, speaking from experience. And because the SEC is closely looking at Robinhood, there's a small chance that they may find something dubious, duplicit. Indubitably, because these are all possible outcomes. And before we trust this app with a lot of our money, I think now's the perfect time to ask the big question. How safe is Robinhood really? Because what if the worst was to happen and our money would disappear like it did to some people on Monday of last week when they opened up the app and saw their account balance literally $0? I would have a heart attack. But on the bright side, I would then sue somebody to pay for all my medical bills because America. And this is especially scary for someone like me who has quite a lot of money invested in Robinhood. Now, it's subjectively speaking, of course, some people make this much in a month, but it's a lot of money to me. And what if the app completely disappears?
You should have used a real brokerage like I told you to,
is what the comments would say, but clearly I'm still here for a reason. And here is why: the good, the bad, and the not so guapo. And here's what you need to know. Back when Robinhood promised all their customers a whopping 3 3% yield on all checking and savings accounts with no minimums, no foreign transaction fees, the SEC got involved because they realized those accounts were not insured properly under SIPC guidelines. Because, fun useless fact that you don't even need to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway, is that money that sat in your accounts was actually invested by Robinhood into what are called treasury securities, which, if the market falls below a certain threshold and loses money, the SIPC may not be able to cover all of that. Hence, the idea fell through and the SEC did not like that. That was a lot of acronyms. I hope all that made sense, and if it didn't, just hit the J board on your keystrokes. What? You get the idea. Just hit the J button on your keypad twice. Go back 20 seconds. Amazing. They've also dealt with the SEC over other numerous glitches, and they've even been fined $1.25 million by FINRA, which is kind of like Shinra, but less evil and less to do with Final Fantasy VII and more to do with regulating financial services companies and brokers like Robinhood, and they even have the power to outright ban companies from participating ever again. It is serious. Robinhood, of course, is far from perfect, and even though they've had experiences in the past, I don't believe they're doing something under the radar and fly by night to try to cheat customers out of money on purpose. Instead, I think most of their troubles come from negligence and the result of ignorance from not knowing just how strict and complex some of the rules and regulations are with regards to being a broker. And I don't blame them. It is so complicated and you have to be so careful that they agreed to keep an independent consultant agency or a company that helps them review every step they take to make sure they're compliant. And so they're learning from their mistakes, but my guess is at worst they'll end up paying another fee to the SEC, but they're not going to be outright banned by FINRA, assuming they made an honest mistake. But to many others, this does not matter, which brings us to the next point. This is law, this is a suit, and this is called a lawsuit. That was dumb. I got dressed up, put on this suit, did all that, changed back into my clothing, edited this whole seamless transition, which took me half an hour to figure out how to do, which on video lasts as long as the smash of a like button. But in all seriousness, there are now over 2,500 signatures petitioning to ban Robinhood against any and all financial services once and for all. In fact, there's an account on Twitter right now with over 7,000 followers calling for a class action lawsuit, and they're asking for up to $5 million in damages. And if you know anything about the financial services industry, which I don't, then you'll know that $5 million is just a drop in the bucket. It's the cost of doing business, but it's not about the money. It's about hurting the reputation and trustworthiness of Robinhood. But despite all this, fortunately for Robinhood and unfortunately for the people in the lawsuit, Robinhood most likely will not be touched. You know how when you sign up to an app, it makes you read those terms and guidelines and it's like 30 pages long, but you don't read, but you have to click I agree in order to move forward? Well, I read that stuff, and on page 15 of that contract, it says, Robinhood will not be held responsible for temporary interruptions in service due to maintenance, website or app changes or failures, and it is not liable for extended interruptions due to failures beyond the company's control. That includes viruses, forces of nature, labor disputes, and armed conflicts. Robinhood does not warrant that these channels will be available and error-free every minute of the day. Guess what? You had to agree to all of those terms before signing up to Robinhood. And as a result, I don't think the class action lawsuit will go anywhere, and at best, it'll be settled out of court. But also keep in mind, I'm not a licensed professional, and I'm certainly not an attorney, and of course I could be wrong. I'm just a wannabe here on YouTube. But Andrei, what happens if Robinhood loses the lawsuit and gets sued out of oblivion? Well, in that case, Robinhood will shut down, you will lose all of your money forever, it will be gone. That was cheesy, and I'm kidding. The SIPC insurance will protect you up to $500,000, and that means $250K of that can be held in cash. Within a few months, you'll get your assets back, but an important difference that you need to understand is that only accounts if the brokerage goes out of business, not if your investments go to zero. Big difference. And if you have more money than the SIPC limit, then consider just adding more brokerages like M1 Finance or even Webull, and if you open an account with them, fund it $100, you can get up to 2 free stocks, one of which can be valued up to $1,400. And the same can be said about your checking and your savings accounts, which are insured by the FDIC limit of up to $250,000. Now, if you have rich people problems and you're exceeding all of those limits, then make sure to diversify. That sounded really weird. I don't wish anything bad to happen to you. I'm just saying don't keep your money all in one place. But what I want to know is, how is Robinhood fighting back? Robinhood Gold. But is it worth it? No. I'm kidding. There's a few features that are worth considering, like the extended hours trading. And this allows you to buy and sell stocks a few hours before and after the market closes, which means the stock prices are more volatile. They move up and down more than when the market opens and stabilizes the prices, typically speaking. So this is great. If you're bored and you need to cure that boredom, you need more excitement in your life, your heart starts to flutter, it's a lot of fun. But otherwise, you can use this feature to trade based on earnings reports, which is another way of investing that I don't recommend for beginners. I certainly don't do this because I'm a beginner and I don't need more excitement in my life, and certainly not my money. But Robinhood Gold does give me access to larger instant deposits, and this one feature alone is tempting for me to try Robinhood Gold, because whenever I move money from my account in my bank to the account in Robinhood, it takes a few days for the money to settle. And sometimes I really want to buy a stock for a very specific price, and by the time the money shows up in my account, the stock just takes off and I can't afford it. So having access to more of my money sooner allows me to buy those stocks. And that's especially important during this kind of a market when stock prices fall just irrationally, and sometimes they only last for a single day. And this way we can scoop up those undervalued stocks really quickly. And you also get margin trading, which is where you trade butter. It's where you borrow money, and it's never fun to lose more money than you started with, unless you like to lose money on purpose without actually having any fun. So maybe go to a casino instead and lose money that way, but maybe do neither. And the last feature is access to Morningstar research, which gives you earnings reports. It gives you articles from analysts from Morningstar. And while this feature is really nice, I wouldn't want to base my entire buying decision based on those articles alone, but it is a nice feature to have. Now, I use Robinhood and I will continue using Robinhood, but I will be more careful recommending them to day traders, options traders, or even crypto people. Instead, I will recommend them to passive index investors and boring dividend investors like myself. So I will not be joining the lawsuit, because that would be a conflict of interest to try to destroy the very same broker that holds most of my investments. Also, I want to clarify, I'm not paid or sponsored by Robinhood, and it is not worth destroying my reputation by recommending them if I didn't truly believe in what they were doing. It's not worth the extra couple $1,000s that I would make to destroy my entire reputation. Now, a few $1 million, but the offers haven't gotten that crazy, so I have not sold out just yet. Follow me on Instagram if you want to be a creeper. I need friends, so I would like that. And now is the time where I go to Russia and visit my grandparents. Time flies, it's crazy. Love you all. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I will see you all on Monat and Freitag. Goodbye. That's Monday and Friday, German.